Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's finish the wishlist feature by implementing integration tests for a wishlist manager view model. As usual, we're going to annotate this class with the Android JUnit and experimental coroutines API. To test this view model, we need the instance of the view model, the test dispatchers, the mock database, as well as the crypto service. I would like to initialize here the user that we're going to interact with from the mock data, as well as the correct wishlist data from the mock data. Let's provide the view model and their setup. Let's set first of all the dispatchers set main to assign the main dispatcher to test dispatcher. And again, to have the mock database, we need the context from the application provider. In order to provide the repository, we need database, API service, and crypto service. And we need to provide the use cases to have the view model instance. The first test that we have to do is to make sure that the function getWishlistItems should get entire wishlist for the current user. First of all, we're going to insert some data to test with. We have here the token saved in the database, therefore we can access the token from the implementation. And we have to act. Let's trigger the event getWishlistItems, and we have to pass the user ID. As we have done previously, we need to wait for a while by calling advance until idle. After, we have to call function test from turbine. We have basically two states, the loading state and the success state that we expect. Await item, we need to make sure that the page is loading, and we are expecting a success state. I'm going to call it here success state. We need to assert that the page is no longer loading. In other words, our page is ready. And we need to make sure that we have the same wishlist from the API call. Assert equal success state and wishlist, and we have to compare it against the correct wishlist. And we have to cancel and ignore remaining events. That's pretty much it. Let's run the test. And the test passed. We don't care actually about the caching here because, for one, we have tested that beforehand in the repository implementation. And for the second reason, the view model does not care where the data come from. Most importantly is we have to trigger the events, and we are expecting two states. The first one, loading state, and the second one, success state. The page is ready, and we have a data to represent in the presentation layer. The second function that we have to test, which is basically the function or the event delete wishlist item, should delete products from wishlist. First of all, let's trigger the event getWishlistItems in order to load the wishlist or the entire wishlist, passing the user ID. Let's wait for a while, advance until idle, and we have to set the selected wishlist. It's basically the same thing that we have seen previously under the wishlist manager screen. We're going to load wishlist items, then we have to wait until the page is ready. Then we're going to assign the selected wishlist item, correct wishlist, and the first item. Now let's call turbine, or let's observe the different states with turbine. Now we have to trigger the event to show the delete confirmation model. In other words, we're going to assign the selected wishlist item to this particular one, the first item under correct wishlist. Next, we have to trigger another event, which is delete wishlist. Pretty much the same thing that we have done previously in the preview. For the first argument, we have to provide the user ID, the second argument on success, and the third argument on error. Let's rename this parameter to product ID. We need to make sure that the product ID or the product title is not empty. Basically, we are passing or we are calling the callback function on success correctly. For the second one, we have two parameters, the throwable and basically the product title. We're not interested here in the product title. We need to make sure that this throwable is null. We can proceed with two manners. I'm going to call here fail, and instead of asserting that throwable is null, I'm going to do expecting no errors, but got the exception and the message. All right. After calling or triggering the event, we have to advance and wait for a while. So we have to get the state after deleting the wishlist item. Let's call it after delete state await item. First of all, going to make sure that is deleting is false. So we are done basically with deleting the item. Now we need to ensure updated wishlist state for the deletion. Therefore, we're gonna call here await item and get another, or to wait for another emission, which is basically the refresh state. we need to make sure that the wishlist does not contain the deleted item. And to access the wishlist, use the function any, it and product ID equals selected wishlist item and product ID. After this assertion, we're going to cancel and ignore remaining events. Finger crossed, let's go ahead and run the test. And the test passed. And that's going to wrap up our wishlist feature. For the next tutorial, we're going to focus on the last feature, which is settings feature, before gluing everything together into the main application. I hope you have learned something new. See you in the next one, and happy coding!